So if you're moving to Chesterfield, it is one of the biggest suburbs in St. Louis, also one of the furthest west in St. Louis County, at least. Tons of stuff going on. Chesterfield is absolutely huge, and it is very quickly growing too. Like, it is on the rise, lots of new developments happening. So in this video, we're going to break down what to expect living in Chesterfield, what to know about it, kind of an overview of the area, along with some things to do here, things you want to know about if you're moving to the area, and some stuff that you might like or might not like if it's on your list of places to consider in St. Louis. Hey, welcome back to the Living St. Louis channel. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Madison.
So Chesterfield is huge. It's got a lot going on. I personally live here, so we love Chesterfield.
He's slightly biased, but we'll work through that.
A lot of great places in St. Louis, but we're talking all about Chesty in this video. That's what I call it. No one else is going to call it that here. So
that is not a local thing.
That's
that
not
is
a thing.
A
that's
Jacob.
a Jacob thing.
Yeah, that's a Jacobism.
Anywho, so Chesterfield is huge, and it has a lot of everything. So you have a ton of residential neighborhoods, you have apartment buildings, condo complexes, tons of commercial space, shopping, malls, as well as just parks, recreational facilities, medical space, a lot of companies that are based in Chesterfield. So it really is huge, and it really has a little bit of everything. And so, believe it or not, Chesterfield has been ranked the #1 suburb of St. Louis by some of these sites for the quality of living, affordability, the schools, the access to amenities. It really has a lot of stuff to offer. It is a little bit further from the city, so you are probably going to be about 30 minutes if you're trying to get into the city, if you're going downtown for a Cardinals game or a Blues game. That is one thing to know about it. This is definitely a strong West County part of town. You're not in that inner belt of the suburbs that are closer to the city.
But I think it's in a good area because it's kind of a blend of St. Charles County and St. Louis City. You know, the best of both worlds with the city and with the county. So you're in West County. Things are still very drivable, but you're close to everything. You can have a little bit of a bigger house. And I think the exciting thing about Chesterfield is that there's a lot of existing homes and businesses. There's a lot of new development and redevelopment.
Yes.
So there's a lot going on right now that really the look of Chesterfield over the last few years has shifted.
It has.
Yeah, and I think more and more people are attracted to this area because it's going to offer so many different types of lifestyles all within the same city.
Yeah, absolutely. So Chesterfield does have some of these more established parts and then some parts that are like brand new developments. So if you look at the two zip codes, 63017 is kind of the eastern side of Chesterfield. You will notice a little bit of an older side of town, smaller homes, a little bit older in the neighborhoods that you'll see, whereas 63005, which is the western side of Chesterfield, tends to be newer. That's where you have a lot more of these new construction projects happening, both residential communities and big commercial projects. Homes tend to be sometimes bigger, newer built, and more expensive on the western side.
So I think it's important to look at the median sales price of each zip code to give you guys a better understanding of the price point of the homes. So according to Redfin, in December of 2023, the median sales price of 63017 was $485,000. So that's much lower compared to the median sales price of a home in 63005, which was $775,000.
63005 is where we see much more of the new development of these larger, like 5,000 plus square foot ranches, story and a halves, sometimes 2 stories, but I feel like story and a halves are like more popular these days.
They're just bigger homes on bigger pieces of land, and they're a little bit newer, which comes at a higher price point.
Yes. And hey, by the way, if you are moving to the Chesterfield area or somewhere else in St. Louis, if you want help buying a house, whether it's existing or new construction, send us an email or a text. We are a group of realtors, and hearing from you guys who watch the videos is the best part of the job.
Yes.
You want to talk about like commercial stuff or the valley or?
I'm going to talk about the valley. Okay. No, let me talk about it.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
So if you're going to live in Chesterfield, you have to know what everyone is talking about when they say the valley. And when I first moved here many years ago, I was like, what's the valley? So the Chesterfield Valley is just a big shopping center, a very long strip mall that has a ton of stores, restaurants, commercial space, things like that. I mean, there's the restaurants, it's anything and everything. There's Starbucks, Bread Co., Red Lobster, one of my favorites, Original Pancake House. But I mean, there is every type of cuisine you can imagine. So when you're looking at the map, Chesterfield Valley runs along Chesterfield Airport Road. And that road is between the valley on the right side is Highway 6440. So it has anything and everything you need. And the awesome thing is that most houses in Chesterfield are within 5 to 10 minutes of the valley.
Yeah, depending on where you live, it's pretty close, but
Right.
it's got everything. It's got restaurants and all your chains. It has all your big chain stores, Target,
Right.
Sam's Club, Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, like
Right.
all the huge stores. And then if you go further down, so the Spirit of St. Louis is the airport that is also in the valley. So it's like a small private airport. And then around that airport, you do have some office space, industrial space.
Right.
Like there's
warehouses.
Yeah, so there is the valley, which is, there's all the shopping and commercial stuff there. But then you also have a lot of companies that are located just past that towards the industrial part where you
Right.
have all sorts of stuff back there. And so outside of the valley, another one of the main arteries you'll see is Olive Boulevard, which turns into Clarkson Road. Lots of, strip
Right.
malls, grocery stores, shopping centers along that. It turns into Clarkson Road. And the funny thing you'll hear is the Clarkson Crawl, which is like 3:30, like
Rush hour.
people get out of work,
Yeah.
that's when it starts from like 3 to 5 along Clarkson Road. It's like slow moving traffic. It's like
Right.
a parking lot. I know that some of the cities talked about trying to fix, but Clarkson Crawl, yeah, especially like getting off the highway from people leaving the city to come out to Chesterfield, it does get backed up. Definitely a very busy area.
I mean, Olive and Clarkson, it's just one of the main arteries that goes through the city of Chesterfield. A lot of people take these roads to get to their neighborhoods. They take them to schools, they take them to the grocery store, restaurants, whatever it might be. I feel like looking at a map, it's important to know that because it runs north to south, and then you have 6440 that cuts through east to west. So that's kind of the main areas.
And then you have some of these more high-end neighborhoods that are kind of up
Right.
on like this ridge above the valley where you have some new developments and some of these major subdivisions that are on Wild Horse Creek Road,
Right.
which kind of almost runs parallel to Chesterfield Airport, except like way higher in elevation. So these homes sit up there looking out over the Chesterfield Valley.
Right. We call those the bluff lots. And then there's even a new development called the Bluffs to where
Yeah.
there are 4 home sites that sit on the bluff. And in addition to that though, there are so many beautiful bluff homes that are just
Yeah.
along the valley. Because when you're up there, you can see everything into the valley. You can see the Missouri River. It's a really unique lot to have in our metro area.
It is.
It's nice because your money does go further being in Chesterfield because you're not all the way in the city.
And you do tend to get newer and bigger homes in Chesterfield compared to some of the more expensive areas in Mid-County.
Right.
Chesterfield is going to be more expensive than an area like O'Fallon or Lake St. Louis out in St. Charles County. So the
Right.
further out west you go, you do get more house for your dollar.
Right.
Chesterfield does tend to be on the more expensive side. I mean,
Right.
especially 63005, if you're talking a median of 775, that is up
Right.
there as far as price. But you do see a lot of these newer homes that might be a better option if you don't necessarily want something that's on the older, more historic side, like what you might see closer to the city.
And I think a lot of homes in Chesterfield, we do see them on bigger lots. So some houses are on acreage where they're on maybe an acre to 3+ acres. But generally in these subdivisions, they are on bigger lots than what we see in other parts of the metro area.
And so the cool thing with Chesterfield is that there is a lot of development happening, lots of money pouring into the area. So a few projects, Wildhorse Village and the Chesterfield Mall redevelopment are 2 massive projects that are kind of creating this new downtown center in Chesterfield that supposedly is supposed to be kind of like a new hub in St. Louis County
Right.
outside of Clayton. Because
Right.
Clayton's kind of like the business center in St. Louis County. That's closer towards Mid-County. That's like closer towards the city, like right in the center. Chesterfield is kind of developing this like Western version of that, bringing companies, bringing people to the area from some of the eastern parts of St. Louis.
Right. And this is a lot of the buzz that is going on in Chesterfield right now. A lot of people are excited, for the Wildhorse Village community that they have already broken ground on. And then they're also excited about what's called downtown Chesterfield, which if you're looking at a map or you're familiar, it's the Chesterfield Mall is what stands there right now. But there have been new plans approved to completely redevelop that into what we will start calling it as downtown Chesterfield.
People either love it or they hate it.
Yes.
There's some valid arguments for both sides, going to change the area in a lot of ways.
It will.
I'm sure there's going to be some growing pains with that. But yeah, Chesterfield is definitely on an upward trend right now, and it looks like it's going to continue. I mean,
I think so.
yeah, those are the 2 big ones. And I mean, outside of that, there are dozens of new office space being built, industrial space, hotels.
Right.
Gateway Studios is a huge new production studio being built. And then, I mean, like half a dozen new neighborhoods of residential homes being built as well. So there is a long list of new stuff that is coming to Chesterfield in the next couple of years.
Right. But it's exciting. And it's exciting for the city to have that. I mean, there have been so many new things that have come into the community. So there's more activities to do, more places to go to, or maybe a new office space or a new restaurant to try. One of the other things, so there's 2 outlet malls. And one is on the farthest west side of 6440 before you cross the river. And that outlet mall has really taken off. Well, then the other one is the one across the highway from the valley where Topgolf is. And that one, they've been going through redeveloping it as more of an entertaining outdoor, kind of like a restaurant space. And so they just finished it. So the district is there.
Yeah. So the other mall redevelopment is from the Taubman Prestige Outlets, which is now the district. So it's no longer shopping. It's more entertainment, dining.
Yes.
The factory is right there, which is they have concerts. It's like a huge event space.
And that's right next to Main Event, because in between the factory and Topgolf, you have Main Event, which has like bowling, arcade games, a very family friendly kind of entertaining venue. There's so much development of that whole, like, you know, you live here, you work here. Well, now let's play, right? Let's have things to do. Let's have outdoor activities.
There's tons of parks in Chesterfield. There's Central Park. There is the Aquatic Center. All sorts of hiking trails, bike trails. Like, there's a lot of stuff to do in Chesterfield. So it like really is, you have everything.
Right. And it's like, if you like doing things indoors, there are a ton of options for indoor activities. But then, as we were talking about, there are also a ton of outdoor activities. So whichever lifestyle you like, I mean, Chesterfield has that.
Yeah. And I feel like originally Chesterfield was more of this like suburban area. You know, it does not feel like the city at all. But they're introducing more of these urban parks.
Right.
So like Wildhorse Village. We have luxury condos that have never existed in Chesterfield to that level before. We have new townhomes, apartment buildings, some more of these like very urban elements, and especially with the mall redevelopment too. There's going to be more apartments, more condos there, where Chesterfield is kind of becoming this blend, less of just like a suburban sprawl area, more of like a mix.
I think it's going to be exciting for bringing these successful urban, you know, ideas that have worked in maybe Clayton or downtown, and they are bringing them farther west.
Yeah, so you can still live, you know, 30 miles outside the city, but still have some elements of that more urban feel.
Right.
Anything else?
You're the chesty king, you tell me.
Yeah, and I feel like sometimes there's more stuff going on than people realize. I mean, like Maryville and Logan are 2 like universities right here that, you know, bring people to the area for work, for school. Tons of companies that have office space here. So that's kind of a high level overview of Chesterfield. And don't get me wrong, it does have some similarities with areas next to it, you know, Baldwin, Creve Coeur, Wildwood. Some of them will have a similar feel, but Chesterfield is kind of like this hub in West County. So again, if you are moving to the St. Louis area, if Chesterfield is on your list, get in touch with us. We'd love to help you with that process, finding your new home in St. Louis. That is the best part of the job for us.
It really is. And we'd love to really deep dive into Chesterfield. I mean, these are just a few of the things of what's it like to live in Chesterfield? What are the locals talking about, to give you a quick idea of what it's like. But there's so much more we could go into. Reach out to us. We'd love to do that. We'd love to show you around, maybe take you to our favorite restaurant, and really just show you Chesterfield.
Absolutely. Until then, thanks for watching.
We'll catch
you in the next one.
So, fun fact. Chesterfield houses my very first apartment when I came to St. Louis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was my first apartment.
I didn't know that.
So I was a Chesty resident for a while.
Where?
So I lived off of Baxter.
Okay.
Yes. And my now husband. Do not put that in there. But Eric lived close too.
I didn't know that. No, I know you lived in Dogtown and then moved to Clayton.
Right.
Was this before Dogtown?
Yes. So when I graduated and moved here, it was Baxter Crossing. Do not put that in there. I'm not talking like I'm on camera.
Why?
Because I'm leaning far away.
But like...
Don't track me down, people.